Hey, what's going on, everybody? Game Shadamas here, bringing you part 3 of my StarCraft 2 beta coverage. It seemed that 9 out of 10 people on my channel wanted more StarCraft 2 footage, so ask and you shall receive. Now, this time we are playing as the Zerg, which is the third race playable on StarCraft. If you missed my first two videos, I played as Terran and Protoss. So I figured I might as well complete this circle. Now, the Zerg are a completely organic race, including their buildings. Now, I just built the Queen. The Queen is kind of the overseer of the Zerg bases. She pretty much helps with production. She can lay larva eggs, which you'll see me do now, on my hatchery. And the hatchery is pretty much the main unit producing building for the Zerg. It is the main unit producing building for the Zerg. The hatchery, which can be upgraded to a lair or hive, which you can see my opponent is also Zerg, and he is upgrading his lair to a hive, his hatchery to a lair, which enables it to produce larvae faster. On top of using the queen to lay more larva eggs. And with the larva, you use that to mutate into the different Zerg units. So as you saw before, I just turned my larva into a couple of Zerglings, which are these little guys you can see on the map here. Zerglings are the very first attacking unit that can be built by these Zerg. They are very cheap, they are very fast, and they can rush the opponent rather quickly. So I saw that my opponent was Zerg because I had an Overlord in his base before. An Overlord's these flying kind of balloon-like creatures that allow you to build more units. They give you more like supply support. There's three resources in StarCraft. There's crystal, there's gas, and there's supply, pretty much. And each race goes about getting supply in different ways. As you see the Zerg, there's these little flying balloon guys kind of there above his base. Those are the Overlords. So I just wanted to get my Zerglings over to his base as quickly as possible. I could see that this guy kind of knows how to play the Zerg, so I figured if I can rush him quickly with some Zerglings, I can either take him out or do as much damage as possible to his economy. So as you can see, I wiped out all of his attacking units, and now his last option is to attack me with his drones, which is exactly what I wanted him to do, because now I just knocked out most of his economy, whereas my economy is in full flow now. Now, it's just doing little things like that in StarCraft that just make a complete difference in the game and will, lead to you winning. So right now, I have full production for a few minutes where he has to spend his money now on getting his production back up. So right then and there, that tells me, okay, as long as I'm not an idiot, I pretty much have this game won already. So while he's screwing around trying to get his drones back up and running and get a queen again, I'm already building more units. So right away, I built my next tier unit, which is the roaches. They are the bigger looking units that are following my Zerglings, as you'll see in just a second. Right here, these guys. They are a little overpowered in the beta at the moment. They're kind of like a melee-ish tanking unit. They do like shoot acid. They don't attack with their hands. So they are kind of a range unit, but they can only attack ground. But they're way too strong for their own good. So because I know that I took him down before, I just wanted to send another group of guys immediately back so he doesn't really get a chance to build up. And in the middle of his base, you can see this worm, penis-like spire thing that is attacking me. Kind of weird-looking defensive tower, but I guess it kind of works in the theme of the Zerg. And I went around his lair there just because that spire does heavy damage to armored units, and my roaches happen to be armored. And I just want to get around to do more damage to his drones or take out his queen again, which I did. And that, again, will knock his production in half. So now he has to build another queen in order to get back up and running. Meanwhile, I'm still just pumping out units, and now I've expanded to a second hatchery. And you can kind of see that little drone kind of swimming around in the middle of that while it's being mutated. So I know now that he is way behind. I have attacked him twice and taken down his economy twice for the most part. So at this point, I am just trying to expand my army as much as possible in one final attempt to eradicate him. So I'm using my queen to kind of float between bases to plant larvae as my second hatchery builds its own queen to kind of get that up and running. So I'm kind of popping back and forth. In a second here, I'll probably build a Hydralisk den, which for those of you who are familiar with StarCraft 1, the Hydralisks are still a badass unit for the Zerg. They can attack both ground and air, they move fast, and they attack fast. So they're a pretty handy unit. And below my second hatchery, I don't know if you saw it, I'll go back to it, but there's this little node thing. It's kind of a Capri tumor, I think that's what they call it. You can kind of see them there. There's those two little red dot things kind of below the hatchery, and there's one right there too. That's what spreads out this brown caprice stuff. The Zerg need that to build buildings on, and they can also move faster when they're on it versus just the regular grass or ground. So it's kind of another tactic for the Zerg, is trying to spread that out as much as possible, but I don't really focus on that much. Another cool thing the Zerg can do is that all their units can burrow into the ground, and unless the race that's attacking you has observers or these other kind of units that can see both stealth or burrowed units, you can use the burrowing as a way to ambush people, but also to kind of hide. And for units like the roaches, when you burrow them, they heal rather quickly. So a good tactic is to like run into their base, do some damage, burrow them, let them heal for like 10 seconds, and then jump them back up, attack again, burrow, and just keep going back and forth. And they can also be upgraded now, the roaches and another unit called the infestors, to be able to move while burrowed. So that's kind of a cool tactic. For those of you who played Zerg before, you can kind of burrow and then just sneak right into their base and attack, which is a pretty nasty little tactic if used right. So as you can see here, I built the Hydralisks. They still look badass as ever, and you would not want to meet one of them in a back alleyway. But so anyway, I'm just trying to amass a big enough army here to kind of take him out. I'm recording this video in BattleNet's media player, so I can kind of see their side and what they're doing. I obviously can't do this when I'm playing him. But if you haven't caught my other videos, you should check those out, because I kind of go over what BattleNet Media Player has to offer. It's a pretty cool little thing. So I got some Hydralisks here. I'm probably going to go for my main attack. I got a good little army. And I didn't notice during the game, but I'm noticing now that he sent little Zerglings to the middle two buildings, which are Zelnaga Observe Towers. In the mini-map, you can see them. They're the two big white dots, and from there you can get a good vantage point of what's going on. So he saw my army coming, so he immediately retracted in an attempt to kind of defend his base, but he only has Hydralisks and I have a bunch of roaches, which will take a lot of the damage. So for the most part, I know that I'm going to do some heavy damage to his base, and he already knows that he's so far behind that for the most part people just quit out at this point because they know game's over. But here's a taste of the Zerg. I hope you guys enjoyed them. They're a little overbalanced in beta, as I was saying before, at the moment, and they're a lot of fun to play at the moment because of that. But I'm a big Protoss fan, so I'll probably bring some more footage of them. But I figured I'd show a little footage of all the races. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will get you a bunch of more StarCraft 2 footage soon. If you enjoyed this video or any others, please subscribe to this channel and help it grow. And I will bring you some more StarCraft and Call of Duty footage soon. So I will talk to you then. You guys have a good one. Oh, I'm sick and my only queue is subscriptions.